So do you want to add a little pizzazz to your everyday style? You might be surprised to see how adding a few vintage accessories to your wardrobe can help create a bold new look. Join me now is Todd Lyon, the co-owner of Fashionista Vintage and Variety in Hampton, along with fashionista Jamie Arabolos. Nice to have you both here.
Thank you for having us.
So how did you get into this? I mean, was it originally a hobby and now a business?
Well, no, I started wearing vintage when I was in high school. Actually, I was in a swing band. I was in my sister's swing band.
Oh, okay.
And started shopping really at thrift shops. Back then you could get some pretty nice vintage stuff, and so I was wearing it on stage, and I loved it all through my life. I've always loved mixing vintage and modern looks.
Sure.
So about 10 years ago, my friend Nancy and I, Nancy Shea and I, decided to have a tag sale with our old vintage stuff that we had that we weren't wearing, and it just took off. It was
Really?
in New Haven, and by the way, our shop is in New Haven, not in Hampton, just for the record. So our little tag sale took off and turned itself behind our backs into a vintage shop, and now we have 2,000 square feet of vintage just bursting at the seams.
That's awesome.
For men and women from the 1940s through the 1970s, pretty much.
All right, and Jamie, what's the benefit of shopping vintage?
Well, for me, because I'm very tall, sometimes I can find things, longer sleeves.
Sure.
I have a small torso, so smaller torso. I mean, it's a lot easier, I think, to go through vintage clothing where you can find things that are just so odd.
So
Unique,
one of a
right?
kind.
Yeah,
One
so
of a kind.
Yeah.
And you're kind of keeping the memory alive of these pieces, right? By wearing them, giving them a
Yeah.
second try here.
Plus, it's economical.
Well, that's
it
It's
is.
buying things secondhand is much less expensive. Even really, well, some very, very high-end vintage stuff might be a little more expensive, but for the most part, across the board, you're going to save a lot of money.
great. Well, let's talk about some of the jewelry you brought today.
Okay, we're going to start with brooches. Brooches are really having a moment right now.
I'm wearing one right
and
now,
you're
which
wearing
I
it right now.
love.
You can
It's
see
so
this
pretty.
is the 1950s, and these are featherweight earrings from the 1950s.
Yes, I love them.
And on the vintage market, there are loads and loads of brooches, and it's incredible how much personality they add. So we're going to demonstrate on Jamie what a brooch can add to an outfit.
Okay.
This, as you can see, is a simple crop jacket. It's not particularly vintage, but you add something to it, and all of a sudden it has so much personality.
Ooh, it
It
does.
completely changes the look. So there's one. Now, look at this. Suddenly this means something else completely. And everything you try with it gives it something else.
I love this.
It
Depending on
really-
your mood,
depending
right?
on
What
your
you want to
mood,
put on.
Depending on your mood. Then look at this amazing vintage brooch.
Where do you get these pieces?
These pieces, at Fashionista, we get almost everything out of households. So usually it's a situation where the fabulous grandma has passed away and she's left all these things to the kids, and they don't know what to do with it, and it's much too good for the Goodwill, so they bring it to us, and we buy estates. We buy piece by piece by piece. We handpick everything. Another lovely thing about brooches is that they can really be a key to your personality. For instance, kiss me, I'm Irish. Beautiful. Conversation starter. Here's a little typewriter. I'm a writer.
Oh, that
Wear
is
this
so
to your writers'
great.
conference. I'm a musician. Look at that.
Wow, something for everybody.
And now I'm going to show you also what brooches can do to something simple like a denim jacket. Excuse me.
Okay.
Here is a simple denim jacket that has, actually this is the one that has buttons on it. This has been
that's really
repurposed
unique.
with vintage buttons. It's a wonderful personality piece.
Kinda cool.
This one is the one I was going for, excuse me, is another really simple vintage jacket, but what we've done is put together a trio of vintage brooches, a really simple denim jacket, a trio of vintage brooches. So all of a sudden, this jacket, which is kind of nothing, all of a sudden is
little
a
fancy.
statement piece.
Yeah, it's
and it
pretty
says
cool.
something about you. It's Southwestern, little cowboy hat.
That's great. I want to move on to the clothing because we have about a minute and a half left.
Oh, boy, okay.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Time flies when you're having fun. Okay, what we're going to do then, let's just jump to the segment. We're going to take Jamie in her little black dress.
Yes.
And we're going to throw some different looks on her. And we're going to show you how versatile, what can happen.
I mean, it's got to be fun to dig through the stores
it's
too
totally
and
fun.
find your
I'm going to
treasures.
skip the headscarf in that one. This one is a little cap, and check it out with that belt. All of a sudden,
It changed your whole outfit.
It did, yeah.
completely different.
It looks cool though.
Completely different. Show that. There's one look. Here's another look. That's going to also take it from one personality to another really quickly. All vintage accessories. Got that? Oops.
Whoops. Oh wow! And I mean, and you can't go to the store today and find a
You
belt
can't
like that.
find anything like
cannot.
this. This stuff is
It's true.
absolutely
So
not.
great.
Come on over here, Jamie. We're going to put this beautiful vintage 1950s mink hat on you. vintage fur is one of the things you should never buy new. And just a little scarf, thank you, doll.
Look at you. I love that look.
Suddenly, it's an entirely new look. Look at her. Look at that beautiful belt. We'll tuck you in. Sorry, I've got high microphone.
Hi, microphone.
So there's one. Now we're going to go another look, which is really bohemian.
Which is my favorite one.
Is it? Yes?
It is my favorite. Here we go. I'll get that later.
Okay.
And I'm
Okay, we
assuming,
take that belt off.
Todd, you can tell us what timeline all the clothing is from.
For
They
the
have
most
certain
part, once in a
looks.
while we don't know. But for instance, the vest that she has on right now. Here, Jamie, why don't you put these bracelets on? See, now look what happens with this. This necklace right here is from the 1960s. This vest that she has on is handmade. And I'm going to guess it's probably also 1960s. And then there's all these beautiful bracelets. Now, these beautiful bracelets are all sterling, and they could be from almost any era. Some of the stuff is completely timeless, and we don't know unless it's stamped. We can only guess. And then finally, our last look for Jamie today
Yes.
is evening. So we're taking this contemporary, very simple black dress, and we've already seen all these looks, and now our last look, we're going to bling her out. Now this,
Ooh, can't go wrong with the little bling,
yeah,
right?
this is repurposed vintage jewelry. It's a lot of old jewelry made into one new piece. You can take that off, Jamie.
Just like our bouquet.
Just like the bouquet. Yes, this is also.
And that adds so much
brooches.
color to it also. Todd, where's the store located? Why don't you tell us
We're
one
at
more time?
93 Whitney Avenue in New Haven on the corner of Trumbull Street.
Very good.
Fashionista Vintage Variety. And look at this. Here's a purse,
I love it. That's fantastic.
bracelet.
Very good. Well, thank you for bringing all
Earrings.
your treasures here today.
Oh, thank you so
Thank you for
much.
having us.
We'll check back in with you at the end of the show. We'll talk about items we should never buy new.
Never buy new.
Never.
Very good.